Did you just get like a weird glitch?
Yeah.
Everything stopped and then it started again. I'm like, okay, who knows? Anyway,
How,
welcome in.
how can every week be different? Why?
Nothing shocks me anymore. Nothing shocks me anymore.
Yeah.
Welcome in. It's the ATB show. At the buzzer, you got Rubber Shoes. You got Timmy. Scotty's in hair and makeup. Adam's in hair and makeup. Corey was running from hair and makeup, and then hair and makeup took too long. So we might get him on the tail end. But honest conversation, if someone in the Lowell area, in the LA area, requires the services of our civil servant William Francis, we're just going to shut her down. So we actually have this. We've gamified it. We don't know how long we have. So we have to efficiently discuss Boston sports. Efficiently discuss Boston sports. So where are we starting? Where do you want to start? Are we starting with the Patriots, finishing with the Celtics? Do you want to start with the Celtics? Do you want to spend any time?
Let's start on a high note.
Okay.
Let's go with the Celtics since everything else is a shit show.
As soon as I'm actually staring up at the TV and there's Braun and Bronny. But yeah, to get to the Celtics, so funny. The game ends. And immediately, FaceTime kicks in. It's Bubba checking in from school. And Aiden's like, how do we take 13 3-pointers and not hit one? And which is really funny.
The one negative you take out of that game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, because, of course, I brought that up in the chat this morning. And Uncle Dukes marches right in. He's like, all right, everybody, sit down and shut up. Like, if that's the only problem we had, which is true. What's exciting is...
Thank you, Steve Kerr.
Why do you say that?
Tatum is on a mission.
Oh, 4,000%. Yeah, which is, well, and...
Thanks for pissing him off at the Olympics.
Yeah, you guys, I don't disagree with you guys. They are on a revenge tour, and I completely get that. I'm staying in the camp of, I think it's very difficult to go back-to-back. I think every team is going to circle our game as the Super Bowl. Conversely, what I was about to say.
Usually you win and you kind of take a deep breath and take a step back. But they've ignited a fire on them again. So
they're doubling down. I mean, and you saw it during the preseason, obviously, and I think there were some media photos as well. Jaylen Brown has been dating 2 or 3 or 4 gyms at once. I don't know if he's sleeping at all. Like, he is jacked with a capital Z. And he was the most muscular one out of the Jays. He's always been a little more yoked, but he's pissed because you got one person that was like, you're not cool enough to be on the bus.
Yeah.
And then the other one was like, well, you're here, but we clearly think you're the least talented of everybody that traveled to Europe, which is amazing. And for him to pump up, when he stepped up and popped that opening 3 and the net melted, I was like, oh, we're in a different place tonight. And then they just kept going. And then
he has a new shot. Like, he worked on his shot. I don't know if you noticed it last night.
I didn't, because I'm not.
His release is different, and he's also made it that he can release it quicker. And when he hit the first few, like nothing but net, I'm like, oh my god,
yeah, we're in a different place. Yeah,
it's one game. Let's see what happens. But if this is what we're getting the rest of the year from him, oh my god, watch out.
Yeah. So a couple of things. I'm excited about the fact they didn't get 30 because. In their heads, the Jays probably sat last night, like getting out of the shower before they did their media shit. And like, who's the donkey coming up where we can get our 30? They got a donkey coming up where they're going to be able to get their 30, right? And just go for it. And they're just going to tell everybody, this would be a night that we could do load management. Everybody's playing. We're going to drop. And before the game started, I'm like, let's put 200 on the Knicks. Like I would honestly, if they hit the remaining 13 threes, it would have been pretty close. They played out of their minds. Are the Knicks? I guess this is where I'm confused, and I'm not an NBA insider on this show, so this is why I'll ask you: were the Knicks coming into this just like it's their night, and we're
No,
gonna play.
I
But
think they wanted to prove a point.
we
Like
are outmatched. But they didn't look.
they're
Here's my question.
they're supposed to be the other contender in the East.
So were they just that bad last night, or were we that good last night?
Well, you figure, like you said, did anyone not come back? So O'Shea
Yeah.
Brashear is the only
Yeah.
one that didn't come back from last year.
Yep.
And so they've all played together.
Yep.
The Knicks, how much did they actually play together during the preseason? So I would say that they're going to get better as the year goes on. But still, I don't. When the Celtics are hitting their threes, nobody's beating them. Like when they're shooting like that, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
Like, was it Mikal Bridges that said, "Oh, you need to drug test them"?
Drug test them. The NBA needs to drug test that whole team. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think if I'm Marcus Smart and I watched last night's game, I'd be like, I want back in. I want back in. Because he was like, who am I thinking of? I can't think of the actor's name from Along Came Polly. Andrew Seymour Hoffman. Not Philip Seymour Hoffman. I apologize, Andrew. Yeah. Who unfortunately passed away. Great actor. But that scene from Along Came Polly where he's like old school. And he's like,
dude, I said every time that meme comes up, I send it to you.
It's so good. It's so good. Old school. Making it rain. Oh God, it's so good. Yeah, they were unbelievable last night. The ring ceremony, I'm super surprised that TNT cut away. Like it wasn't done.
Yeah,
that was a little weird.
The banner didn't make it to the rafter yet.
And TNT cut away.
Thank you to my lovely wife. She recorded it for me, and I watched it at halftime because I was at a AAA work trucks presentation last night. Wonderful. Until I got home just in time for tip off.
Yep.
So it worked out for that, and she recorded the ceremony, so I watched that at halftime. And it shocking.
Yeah,
but I feel like I had said to Tyler, like, oh, how come you didn't watch it on MSNB, Sports Boston? And he's like, oh, they were using the same video. They cut off there also because it was during the pregame there, so they had the feed from TNT over there, so nobody had the whole shot.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I watched. Interesting that he said that because I was on NBC Sports Boston, thinking that the game was on NBC Sports Boston, and I forget who I was texting with, and they're like, no, it's over on TNT. So I jumped over to TNT, and by the time I was moving to TNT for the game, I feel like NBC Sports Boston went to different programming altogether.
Yeah,
7.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I feel like it was at 7. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that was an interesting choice. Also, I was hoping they would, and I feel like they should have, and maybe I missed it, but I saw the whole ring ceremony. I think if you're going to march out the trainers and all that stuff, and those are all important people, they make the whole thing happen. I think the last person they could have done when they're going through the whole and I don't mean, maybe after Missoula before the first player, they should have marched out Mike Gorman. It wouldn't have been inappropriate, and he got a ring.
Yeah,
he got a ring.
Oh yeah.
Because he got his flowers. He got his flowers.
They probably asked him.
Yeah, maybe he didn't want to be.
But also, no one, Maxwell wasn't in it. Which Grandy's back.
Oh, was he not supposed to be back?
Well, he gave this big long thing at the end of his last broadcast that it was like he was leaving.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know, but yeah, he was back. So I mean, you figure it was just the team and the trainers and stuff. It wasn't any extra people. So I guess, but I wouldn't put it past that they asked him and that Mike Gorman said, no, this is about the team.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. I thought it would have been pretty cool. And you know what? Oh, we're so spoiled. I'm complaining about how the celebration went, but stay with me. I love Jason Tatum. He did not take, as my father would say, he did not take elocution classes. He has never gone to Toastmasters. If you really want to come in locked arm in arm with your boy and put the NBA on notice, he should have said what he said. And then he should have said to the greatest fans in all the world, we couldn't have done it without you. And then he should have handed the mic to Jalen, who is full of creatine and pre and post workout and protein powder and oxygen. And he could have said, top of his lungs, let's run this and drop the F-bomb on TNT, because they have Charles Barkley on the staff, right? It would have been it would have been Big Papi-esque of this is our city, right? And he could have been, let's run this fucker back, and then print the shirts. Let's do it again. Like this isn't like an 8th grade talent show, dude.
Tatum's not the. That's why Smart could run over those guys when he was here, because he was the loud guy in the locker room. So, and Jalen and Jason both kind of, they're not that boisterous type of personality. So,
well, to your point, Jalen is soft spoken, but I think you just like, listen, this is what you're going to say, one line, and you're going to say it with all the vitriol possible, and it was just like, let's do it again. And I was like, oh God. Oh my God.
I liked it. I think you don't want to come off too scripted.
Sure.
And it sounded like he knew we wanted to say that at the end, but everything else was just what was coming off.
Janina picked on his grammar, because he was like, we couldn't have did this without you. She's like, he left Duke early. He left Duke early.
I made a comment at the house saying, "Oh, that's your Duke University's schooling for you."
She's like, he left freshman year. That makes sense. His English teacher is spinning in her grave.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, they looked really good. Uncle Al looked, in his moments, looked good. He was hitting threes. I feel like he wants to be a big part of the story to put another banner up there, and he looked really good. He didn't look like, I'm back for this ride. If we make it, we make it. I think he's back to be a contributor.
That's what the first game of the season looks like.
I know.
Got to try not to put too many miles on him during the regular season, which is, I hope Missoula uses Cada more. Like Cornette's good for now, as a backup, but you have to go deeper than that. You can't just put Cornette and Horford back and forth.
Right.
You have to use Cada in real minutes, not garbage time.
Yeah.
Or someone. They got to get someone to fill that. And
and we're going on the road already, right? Like the next game's on the road. I think did they say Detroit or Washington? I forget. I'm grabbing an iced tea. I'm right here. Hang on.
Okay. While you're doing that, I will look up the schedule. I didn't really look too much further ahead than last night. Let's see. Oh, actually, I should get the Celtics. Okay. Thursday, the Wizards.
It is Washington.
Yeah, so they got the Wizards. Then Saturday is Detroit. Then back home for Milwaukee on Monday.
Okay. So next challenge is Milwaukee at home.
Well, honestly, let's not look over anyone.
You guys all have the fucking duck boats getting gassed up. Don't start with me.
Yeah, but
I'm the one that says we're not going to run it
back. Stay
back.
strong. You don't look past anyone. You floor everyone. I like that they didn't have a hiccup and let them get back within 10 last night.
Yep.
They kept the throttle down and they took care of business, and they got the rest in the fourth quarter. That's what they should be doing with the next two games.
Yeah.
That's those type of opponents.
Yeah. Put the bench in.
You're taking the fourth quarter off, which hurt me because I had a 4-leg parlay.
Can we talk about your $2.35 parlay?
No, $1.26.
Unbelievable.
So I hate having. I like having even number in my account. So whenever I have.
So let me ask you: Are you the guy that when you're filling up your tank, do you go to a flat dollar, or does it have to just be like 48.22? You have a Jeep. I trust it takes about
So
$50 to
no,
fill
I
that
don't
thing
have
up.
my Jeep anymore. But
The Jeep's gone?
yeah, it's been good. You haven't noticed it at our golf outings? I got rid of it back in July.
Okay. Well, no, the other day in Chelmsford you didn't have it, but I don't know. I don't know whose car you're grabbing. I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on. Okay.
I have a Nissan Altima
Oh,
now.
okay.
What were we talking about? That Alpha Brain's working well.
Yep. Is it? It's not.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Yeah. The bench. Time off. Your parlay.
No. The going up to a even amount. So in my car, when it pops off, I take the gas out, put it away. But when I'm filling up the fire truck, it always has to go to an even 11 gallons, 10 gallons, whatever. It's got to be even amount of gallons, because that's gallons. We just do
dollars.
gallons. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm like, if I have a radio that has numbers, when you turn the volume, it always has to end on an even number. Like I can't go. I'll go from 30 to 32, 10 to 12.
Climate control in your car, you're at 68, 70, or 72.
76 usually.
Yes.
For cold days.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. Even though my favorite number is 7, everything else has to be even. I like
7. I think is the adopted child of even numbers. People just like 7 because it's a lucky number.
I mean, it
transcends odds and evens.
My number in high school for football and baseball, so that's the main reason.
Yeah. So what was your cockamamie 38-cent parlay that you were trying to close out?
So so I had 4-leg parlay.
Are you a DraftKings kid or a FanDuel king? Say DraftKings.
FanDuel. It's for the DraftKings for some reason. So I had DraftKings for, like, you could do the pools in there before betting was legal in Massachusetts. And when it switched over, I've had nothing but problems with my account. So I've had problems. I just used FanDuel.
All of my accounts. FanDuel I got locked out of a while ago. And I'll blame all of this on my stupid MetroCast email that I had back when I had Fenway Fan at MetroCast. That doesn't work, so I can't capture like security codes getting sent to it. So I'm locked out of FanDuel. In trying to move everything over to my Gmail for DraftKings, that's been locked, and I've sent the email that says I'm just trying to change my email to corporate, and they're not getting back to me. And it's okay because I really am not a gambler. And then when ESPN Bets started, I'm like, okay, here's a clean slate. I can do this, but they don't play in New Hampshire. I'm like, okay, it's not in New Hampshire yet. Maybe that has changed in the last couple of weeks or months, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then when I go in now, it's like it has me locked out of it. So I don't know if they're talking to the other two companies and they're like, oh, he's been locked out of these. Like, yeah, dude, you're not going to shake me from, like, the craziest I'll do if it's like the national championship game and I just want to do it to make it interesting. I'm $22 tops. I'm putting on a game.
I don't know.
We got dear friends, Kevin and stuff, that they're going in.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever made a bet over $10. Like most of mine are like $1 here, $2 there, maybe a 5, but usually. And so when I have like cents, I always do like $1 and that cents for some cockamamie parlay because you do little, but you can get big. So big. So last night was $1.26 to win 17 something, and it was Jason Tatum double check.
Yeah.
Holiday plus 4 or more assist, check.
Yeah.
Derek White 3 or more 3-pointers.
Derek White still bald, check. Yep.
And it was Jaylen Brown 25 points or more, and he had 23. And he was trying. He did play. I think they were trying to get him 25 because he was the only starter that started the fourth quarter. And then finally, like, he started throwing up they all start when they were trying to break the record
Yes.
for threes. They were just throwing up bad shots, and they took him out. And
13 bad shots. That was
Yeah.
mind-boggling. But again, I'm excited because they're going to pick a donkey coming up, and they're just going to bowl them. What they need to do.
Tyler and I thought for sure Tillman was going to hit it. Like, of all the guys out there.
Yep. They need to set a ridiculous new record. Is what they need to do.
Yeah.
Like, take
I really
a game
want.
that
I
they know
wanted.
they're going to smoke.
It would have been
somebody
awesome if Jordan Walsh hit it. But I thought for sure it was going to be either Pritchard or Hauser. One of those guys was going to do it, but it just wasn't in the cards last night.
Much like Jalen, Pritchard looks really good. Looks really like he's worked a lot. They all look really good, and I know it's night one, but it's exciting.
And it was without Porzingis,
right? I know that's what's amazing. That's amazing.
But they had a good record without Porzingis last year too, so they know how to play without him. It's just when he's there, it's that much more dominant.
That got lost in the shuffle too when they were doing the whole montage about building the ring and the fact that the season record is on that piece of green paint that's overlaid on a piece of the floor and all the details they did. Super cool stuff. And then they dropped the playoff record, and you're like, I was like, that's outlandish. Like in our spoiled rich kids shut up and go home mentality, 16-3.
Yeah,
they only lost 3 games during the playoffs, like that, which also bakes into the whole conversation of they didn't really play anybody and can they do it again and all that stuff. So that's going to be interesting. The only thing that could make it sweeter this time, and I don't think, you can correct me, of course, I don't think they have the wherewithal to get there, is if we could beat LeBron in the end. But LeBron doesn't have a team around him that's going to get through Phoenix or Dallas or anything like that.
They'll probably win the in-season tournament again.
Is that a thing?
It is a thing.
Do we know that's coming back to a theater near us? That
you didn't see the advertising for it last night?
I guess I must have blacked out during that.
Yeah, we're like, really? Who cares? And it's like, well, LeBron cares. That's why.
The in-season tournament.
They are gonna change the name when LeBron retires. They'll change it to the LeBron Cup. I guarantee it.
Oh, the in-season tournament.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
They're gonna change it to his. They're gonna name it after him because he'll win the first 2. He may or may not make the playoffs, but get knocked out again this year.
Right.
But he'll have 2 cups.
We have 2 cups. Here's a question for you. I trust Scotty stuck in hair and makeup. Maybe Adam. Maybe all of you did. Did you stay up for the West Coast game?
No.
Okay. Did you watch Bronny hit the floor with him? Any of it?
I only saw it on. I didn't even see it on ESPN this morning because when I was at the gym, they were still playing the NHL game from last night, so they didn't have SportsCenter on yet. So I was glad I didn't have to watch any of it. I finally saw it on Instagram today, but it's like I could give 2 shits.
Yeah, and I think if the rest of the crew was on the show tonight, there'd be a pretty strong contention that they did what they needed to do. That box is checked. How quickly does he go back down to G League? Or do they not rush it because that looks too obvious?
Yeah, I'm sure LeBron's going to do everything to keep him up there because it'll be a tarnish on his name if he gets sent down to the G League. So it's like, they made a big deal. The Griffies were in attendance for it.
I saw that.
Like, yeah, so you had Ken Griffey Sr., who was I think he had 1 All-Star appearance in his career, maybe more than that, but he was a really good player, deserved to be in the major leagues. And then you had the phenom, Ken Griffey Jr., who was, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Not LeBron hanging on till he's 90 years old just so I can force the Lakers to draft my kid so I can play with them so I could be, the first one to do it in the NBA.
Right.
And oh my God, good thing I was busy yesterday at work because, of course, at the gym yesterday morning there was no replay of any games, and it's like, okay, it's opening night for the NBA. Celtics are raising their banner after winning the championship, and all they kept showing was LeBron and Bronny. Yeah, the whole Sports Center. I'm like, so that's I got no no use for it.
And they showed them leaving for the game, and he fruity pebbled his car. Did you see that?
No.
So
I
LeBron had it
ignored
arranged,
as much as
obviously,
possible.
and it was all orchestrated. It wasn't like it wasn't LeBron actually on his phone. Like it was very Scorsese shot, and
like
it's him
the
going to
thing
open
that
his
bugs
door.
me the most is
How
that
orchestrated it is.
Yeah, everything is, and so of course they had to zoom in right before LeBron and Bronny were gonna, so they could hear everything he was saying to Bronny before they got put in. It's like, I blame ESPN as much as I blame him. They just kiss his ass so much. It drives me nuts.
Well, it's challenging because there's not a piece of me that really enjoys him because he's just he's a professional soccer player that happens to play basketball when it comes to the fouls and all the bullshittery. We've had this conversation when you look at when the Pistons were playing the Celtics in the 80s, and like you could stab somebody, but if the knife stayed in and he didn't die, there was no whistle, right?
Right.
So that's annoying to me. I will give him credit that he's challenging the Brady effect insofar as age and still being on the court and all that kind of stuff. But it is so all about him. And the true great players are selfless. Magic Johnson, Tom Brady, they make the people around them better. I'm not saying he doesn't, and he's a really good player insofar as can run the boards, can shoot the three, all that kind of stuff. But
like I've said many times, he should have. This should have been no conversation about the GOAT. He should, the way that his size, his speed, his agility, like how he can take over a game when he wants to.
Yep.
He should have hands down won so many championships that there's not even a conversation that Jordan's the greatest. But he doesn't have that killer instinct that Jordan and Kobe had.
Yeah.
And
right.
Bird and Johnson, those guys.
Oh no.
Yep, that's gonna be me.
You gotta go.
Yep. Accident. Gotta go.
Oh my God. All right, brother.
All right.
I'll wrap this up. This is a new one. All right. So Rubber Shoes is out. Everybody else is in hair and makeup. And we will talk to you guys next week. We appreciate you hanging out. We'd love for you to subscribe and share and like and comment. We want to thank Joe and Leslie at AAA Work Trucks for keeping the lights on at this thing of ours. It is at The Buzzer, atbshow.com. We'll see you next week. Take care.